Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Steven with another MyCom tutorial, and today we're going to talk about 3 ways to spice up your footage for free. Let's go. All right, so in here we have our project. This is a recent 10-second commercial I did for a client, and just want to we can play it first, but just wanted to kind of figure out a way to spice up this commercial for free. Because a lot of times, you can shoot things and it can look one way, and sometimes you just need to add the extra layer of spice to help out your edit. So let's go ahead and play this through and we can see it. So here we go. So I took out some of the voiceover and the graphic at the end, just so that way kind of give the client some privacy. But anyway, just want to figure out a way to spice up this footage a little bit. And so today I want to show you just 3 simple ways that we can do that. And the first one is to add a LUT, or a lookup table. And this is just simply a way to kind of unify all the colors in your film. In the video, you can see here, this is like a morning scene, and then going into kind of a work scene shot like mid-noon, harsh daylight, and this is more towards the ending, kind of evening-ish, and it's very cloudy. So something we can do to unify all the footage together is to add a LUT overall. And so what I'm going to do is go to this new button here in the projects bin. And if you don't see this project bin, you can go to Window and go down to Projects, and here we are. And so hit this little page button, and this will add a new, there's lots of different options here. And so right now we want to add a new adjustment layer. And so it's going to open up this window. 1920 by 1080 is what we want. This is shot in 24 frames, so that's how we want to keep it. And hit OK. And so you can see here it pops up in the project window, and we can go ahead and stay super organized if we want and throw this into, say, graphics. And we'll take this, we'll drag it on. I like to move it up just in case I need to make any other edits. And so we can drag this over here. And so right now it doesn't do anything, because what an adjustment layer does is it adjusts every layer beneath it. And so every layer that goes beneath here will be affected by what we do. So I have this adjustment layer selected, and I'm going to go over to, let's go to the creative section in Lumetri Color. And again, if you don't see this panel, you can go to Window and Lumetri Color, and it should pop up somewhere. I have it docked over here. And so now what we can do in this creative panel, Adobe has a lot of looks already imported. I have some custom ones that I've bought. So your window may not look exactly like mine. But what we can do, some really popular ones are in the Fuji and the Kodak space to give it kind of a film look. And so if we just do, let's just try this first, Kodak. And you can kind of see the quick adjustment there. So let me turn this off. So here's off and back on, and you can see it just adds a lot of contrast. It adds some blue, it adds a little bloom to the highlights, and so it kind of gives it a unique look. Here again, the second shot, boom, there's off and back on. Again, brings out some skin tones. It gives a saturation to some of the warmer skin tones here, and again, kind of blooms the highlights to emphasize the light there. Next shot. Here's on, here's off, back on. So it just adds an extra layer of just some contrast and some things that will help your footage pop a little bit. Sometimes these LUTs can be a little bit too intense, and so if you go to this Creative tab, and under the preview, there's this intensity slider, and you can increase it if you want, make it really crunchy, or you can decrease it to kind of take some of the look away. I think honestly, this looks fine at 100%, but a lot of these LUTs that I've bought are very stylized, so I like to pull them down to about 40%. So step number 1 is to add a LUT. So step number 2, what we can do, and again, this is more stylized and it's up to your own opinion and what look you're going for, but I want to add some quick film type elements. Again, this is kind of like a family type commercial, so like I think in this, maybe the last 2 shots, because it's kind of warm, kind of give it more of a nostalgia type feeling. So let's go ahead and look for a free way to do that. So let's open up the browser and let's do a free film overlay. And there's a lot of these sites that have free overlays. A lot of these sites have free overlays. A lot of creators have free overlays. So just be on the lookout, whether on Instagram or YouTube. A lot of the people will give away these types of things. So here's Motion Array, a very respected site, 19 free film grain overlays for filmmakers. So I'm doing this live, have not looked at this yet. And so, okay, so here's a download a free film overlay pack by Motion Array. Just gonna click that. And let's take a look here. Not like super amped about that. Let's try, I want to do film grain, old film look. Okay, film grain effect. Let's check this out. So here's the before and there's the after. It looks a little bit, let's see. I think something like this may work, so let's try that. Let's go ahead and hit download. And okay, so again, it's a quick email type grab, so subscribe to download. Hey, just kidding. Why did it say free? All right, be careful of the internet, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's try this first one. So what I want to do is try to find something with this kind of 8mm look. It's pretty popular right now. So we can go ahead and download. All right, so hop into Premiere and then open up Finder. I saved it in this graphics panel, film overlay effect. We'll drag it into the graphics and kind of preview it. Okay, perfect. And let's drag it over our footage. And so, we have a problem. Right now it's just, we obviously want to show the footage underneath it. So we'll click on it and we'll go over to this effects control tab. And this is where you can control all of the effects for your, this is where you can control a lot of different properties for your clips. And if you don't see that, again, just go to Window and Effects Controls. It'll be right there. And what we want to do, sometimes these are all closed up. Just scroll down the opacity, and you can change the opacity if you want to. And you can kind of see how, I mean, that looks decent. If we change the opacity there, let's click on it again. Let's take it up to 100%. And what we want to do is to knock out this black here. And the way we can do that is under this. So first section, this second section, if you darken it, it'll basically take what's the brightest and make that opaque or white. And you can kind of scroll through here and see the different effects. This panel here, light and screen color dodge, will take what's black and make that transparent. And so again, this is all personal preference and taste, however you want to do it. This linear dodge may be good just to kind of, boom, just to kind of add that little layer, and then it kind of wipes out here. So if you want to like take this portion where it turns white and make that a transition element, we can just hit M, mark that, puts a little marker right here, and drag that over the transition area. Boom. And so now we have this little transition of film, which looks good. And so this would be like a film transition, which again adds the little nostalgic effect, so we can watch it again. Boom. Okay, we can do that. Or what we can try to do is just extend it, just copy it and paste it over everything. And maybe what we can do is just copy and paste it over the whole clip. And I'm going to drag this back to where the white element is not there. And maybe what we can do is drag this back. Okay, so we'll have a little bit of transition into the family aspect, and then boom, full transition to the last shot. So that's something we can do to kind of spice up the footage. Again, just a way to make it feel a little bit more nostalgic and a little bit more heart-grabbing. So step number 2 is to add a free film overlay effect. And the last thing we can do, we talked about this before a lot, is adding sound design to help sell the effect. So what we can do, again, go back to Google, and we can do free, let's see, film, free 8mm film sound effect, SFX. So let's see here, projector running. Sounds great. Let's download, and we can put this in audio, sound effects, and save. Okay, and so we go to Premiere, and then let's go over to our project, back to Finder, and we'll drag that in, audio, sound effects, and there it is, 8mm. And so what we can do here, have the same folder structure inside of Premiere. Drag this into sound effects, boom, 8mm. And what we can do, just kind of drag this in, you can kind of see where it spikes right here. So I'm going to drag this, and right when it spikes, I'm going to set that to where our film animation starts. So let's try it. So you can kind of hear it running still after the sound effect ends. So what we can do is right when it ends, we can cut it here, and I hit tilde, or I hit the backslash on my keyboard to show the full timeline. What I want to do is grab this, hit D to cut. At least it's D on my computer. I have created so many shortcuts, I can't remember if that's the native or not. So anyway, kind of do the same thing at the end as we did in the beginning. Kind of hit that click on the way out. Or we can actually hit that click on the same time where we set this marker. That way, click, and it kind of tails out, boom. And so a couple more things we can do just to add some realism to this. You can see here in the waveform, let's expand this a little bit, that it's just, you can see here, these two waveforms in one clip. That means it's a stereo clip, so it's left and right. Right now it's only playing out of the left side. So what we can do, highlight both of these clips, right click, and go to audio channels. And we can set both of these to left, and boom, now they're on both channels. And that sounds a little bit too loud, so I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to hit Shift and the left bracket, and that'll take it down 6 decibels. And I hit it again, that takes it down 12 decibels. Let's hear it again. Yeah, so we don't want it to be overpowering. That's the thing with sound effects. We don't want it to be really obvious. We want it to be more subtle. So the third way you can spice up your footage is adding simple sound effects to your footage that add that extra layer of depth to them. And so again, to recap, the first way is adding this LUT to give your timeline a little bit more of a stylized look. The second thing to do would be add some kind of overlay as a transition, or over all your clips, however you want to do it. But the lighter, the better. The less you use it, the better, in my opinion. And the third thing is to add sound effects that enhance what you're doing. Adding sound effects really adds the depth and the character to what you do. And so this is Steven with another MyCom tutorial. Hope you learned something. If you did, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share it. Do all the things that really help out this channel. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.